Hello everyone, Namaskaram. Welcome to the online education IAS classes. I am Anjali Sisodia. As you can see, I have promised you to come with the UPSC related topics that have a frequency to repeat itself. So our first topic here is Parliament. Our first topic here is Parliament. Let's begin. So, first of all, I have given a brief introduction about the parliament, and later we will have some tables to discuss about the various topics related to UPSC, which comes frequently, right? So, what is parliament? It is the legislative organ of the union government. It has three parts, as you all have might studied in Lakshmikant, that is the president, council of states, and the house of the people. So these are the English terms, right? So we had our first election in 1952, and after 1950 in 1954 the Hindi names were given, that is Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. So this is also important because you might have read the news about some months ago कि राज्यसभा की जो प्रोसीडिंग्स है और जो उसकी नेमिंग है, इस पे बहुत सारा न्यूज़ में आ रहा था कि क्वेश्चनिंग चल रही थी. So there was two articles in the Hindu newspaper by our Vice President Venkaiah Naidu. So if please focus upon this Rajya Sabha topic from your Lakshmikant, right? So here Rajya Sabha represents the states and UTs of the Indian Union, while Lok Sabha represents the people of India as a whole. You all know that Lok Sabha represents the state, represents the people, and Rajya Sabha represents the states and UTs, and both these are situated in New Delhi, right? And one more thing, you need to remember that when we are talking about the Indian Parliament, it has three parts, right? But if the question is asked about specifically about the president, whether the president is a member of either of the houses of parliament, so he is not a member of either house of parliament because he holds a integral position in parliament. He has some powers. He has some powers in the parliament. So he doesn't hold any house of parliament, right? So the bill passed by both the houses cannot become law without the president. I said we all have studied that after the bill is passed by both houses, the president gives the assent. Otherwise the bill is not there, right? Bill doesn't become the act, right? He summons and prorogues both the houses. This statement is very very important. It has been asked directly that who summons or prorogue the house. Like they can give you the speaker in the Lok Sabha, right? Chairperson in the Rajya Sabha. So you need to remember this fact directly. President summons and prorogues both the houses, okay? He dissolves the Lok Sabha. He addresses both the houses because after election, the first session is been addressed by the president, and the first session of every year is being addressed by the president, right? And he president issues ordinances when both the houses are not in session. You all must be aware of this, right? Because recently also during the COVID-19 there was an ordinance passed by the president related to the healthcare workers. So and the insurance to healthcare workers who died of COVID-19, right? So there can be a probability that ordinance topic can also be asked, but in the subsequent sessions, in the subsequent topics, I'll discuss that whatever the recent happenings have been done, especially in the COVID-19 period. Now, I have shared here some tables comparing one or two topics, right? Because these are some topics which are asked directly or might be in the form of statements in the UPSC. So, first of all, what is adjournment? These I have taken the sessions, right? Adjournment and prorogation. These are the sessions of parliament. So, session is like they are the meetings held each day in the two meetings held each day in the morning and post lunch, right? And what is adjournment? It is a sitting that can be terminated by adjournment sign die, right? And what is this? It suspends the work in a sitting for a specified time, right? It can be for hours, it can be for a day, or it can be for a week. Okay, let me erase it. So now we compare. Let's see the prorogation also, right? It is the presiding officer declares the house adjournment signed when the business of the house is completed, right? So who is the presiding officer? He is the speaker in the Lok Sabha and chairperson in the Rajya Sabha. So this also you need to remember, right? Because mostly when options are given, so only presiding officer is being mentioned, not the speaker or chairperson. So you need to remember the fact that speaker in Lok Sabha and chairperson in Rajya Sabha are being regarded as the presiding officers. Okay, and president can also prorogue the house while in session. So both have the power, also the presiding officer as well as the president. So now we proceed. We see the adjournment versus prorogation. So, what is adjournment? The difference between these is adjournment only terminates the sitting and not the session of the house. So, okay, it is only for a that, as I have explained earlier, that it is for a specified time, that can be for hours, that can be for days, that can be for weeks. Okay, so it only terminates the sitting and not the session. But what is prorogation? It terminates both sitting as well as the session of the house. So these from this table you can get a clue that you can also have a clue about only adjournment part and only prorogation part. Okay, because these are the topics I have shortlisted. These are asked directly. You did not have to memorize or recall each and everything in parliament chapter, right? Second statement is the adjournment is done by the presiding officer of the house. As I also told you earlier, it is a speaker in Lok Sabha and a chairperson in Rajya Sabha. And in prorogation, it is done by the president of India, right? Why it is done by president of India? Because it is terminating the sitting as well as the session. So you can remember it by that both the things, two things are being done. So that should be done by the president. And when only one thing, that is sitting, is terminated, it is done by the presiding officer. Okay, now it does not affect the bill or any other business pending before the house, and the same can be resumed when the house meet again. Because it's simple, as the only the sitting is terminated, not the session. So the that sitting cannot affect the bill or any other business, right? So if the question is asked in the statement form that the house is being adjourned and it suspends the bill or any other business pending before the house, so the second statement is obviously wrong, because adjournment is done for a short for a limited period, for a specified period, and it of course does not suspend the session. Okay, and in prorogation, it also does not affect the bill or any other business pending before the house. However, all pending notices other than those for introducing bills lapse on prorogation, and fresh notices have to be given for the next session. So what does this mean? That we have seen the prorogation is the termination of the whole session of the house, right? So that if the session is terminated, that also does not affect the bill. Why? Because the we have two or three sessions, right? Winter session, summer session, monsoon, sorry, winter session, budget session, and monsoon session, right? So we have three session in the year. So if the house is being terminated, if the session is being terminated, so it of course does not affect the bill or any other business. But of course the pending notices, this is important. The pending notices other than the introducing bill means things related to the bills, that will not suspend or the business pending before the house. But of course the pending notices will lapse on prorogation, and fresh notices have to be given for the next session whenever the session adjourns, right? Now we proceed. Here, this I have compared the public bill versus private bill, because you can see from the previous year paper that the bill has been focused upon, like private bill and public bill. I haven't shared any example over here, because in I think 2017 or 18 there was a question about the private bill asked directly. Why it was asked? Because the LGBT bill was introduced as a private bill, and it was become an act, right? So here they have asked the example, and now there is probability that a private bill or public bill directly some statements can be asked, right? So here we see what is public bill. It is public means government, right? So definitely introduced in the parliament by a minister, and private is like a normal public, so they can it can be introduced by any member of parliament or the minister, right? It reflects the public bill reflects the policies of the government, that is ruling party. Of course it will reflect because it is obviously introduced by the minister. And the private bill can raise reflect the stand of opposition party on any public matter. It is like if any public matter which is being untouched by the public bill or the ruling party minister, so private bill is something that the opposition can introduce in the parliament, right? And now third is it has a greater chance to be approved by the parliament. Why it has greater chance public bill? Because of see it is the ruling party minister, he or she himself or herself brings the bill, so it is a greater probability that the bill can be passed by the majority, right? And the private bill, it has a lesser chance of its approval. Just the matter is the ruling party and the majority and minority, right? Okay. Now, its introduction in the House requires 7 days notice. Public bill has 7 days notice, and private bill has notice of 1 month's notice. So this is the difference. You need to remember this because it is important from the upcoming prelims point of view. Private bill 1 month notice and public bill 7 days notice, right? Fifth is it is drafted by the concerned department in consultation with the law department. As we see that we have seen that the standing committees are also there, right? So if any bill is drafted, so the standing committees or concerned committees are being come into picture, and they see what are the shortcomings or if something has been missed, right? So the public bill, whenever it is being drafted, it is drafted by the concerned department, okay, and consultation with the law department if something is missed or something needs to be added. And in the case of the private bill, its drafting is the responsibility of the member concerned, okay. Now sixth is its rejection by the house amounts to the expression of want of parliamentary confidence. If this is rejected, if the public bill is rejected, the parliamentary the ruling party has to prove its confidence in the government and may lead to its rejection. Otherwise, in the case of private bill, its rejection by the house has no implication on the parliamentary confidence on the in the government or its resignation. Of course, because private bill is being introduced by any member of parliament other than the minister, and it reflects the something on the public matter by the opposition party, right? So this private bill, if it's rejected, it will not have any implication on the parliamentary confidence, but the public bill will obviously have that. Now this is ordinary bill versus money bill. Why I have given? Because there are many questions have been asked related to money bill, so I request you all to go to your basic books like Lakshmikant or any other book which you follow, or your notes, to please read money bill. It is very very important, because in the alternate years or previous year paper, if you see, the money bill has been asked again and again. So this difference I have given so that the I can cover the major difference or major points that differs money bill from the ordinary bill, right? So first of all, I tell you about the ordinary bill. It is passes through 5 stages, and finally finds the place in the statute book, right? Because ordinary bill has five. It has ordinary bill has to pass with 5 stages. And talking about the money bill, it is in Article 110. Okay, money bill is given in Article 110. Now, your duty is to go to your reference book and study about this both ordinary bill, its 5 stages, and money bill. And please see that there is a difference between financial bills and money bills. Okay, now we see the difference. Ordinary bill can be introduced in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, right? It is an ordinary bill, so it can be introduced in any of the sabhas or Lok Sabha houses, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. But money bill has to be introduced only in the Lok Sabha and not in the Rajya Sabha. Can you give me the example that the recently any money bill that has been passed? It was the GST bill, GST Act that we have today, the Taxation Act. It was passed by making it the money bill. So it was passed, introduced in the Lok Sabha and not in the Rajya Sabha. Secondly, it can be introduced either by a minister or a private member. Ordinary bill can be introduced by a minister or a private member, but talking about the money bill, as the money bill has to do with the government budget, it has to do with the contingency fund. So we are treasury, our country's treasury. So we are taking out money from this, right? So it's a circulation of money. So some strict stringency can be followed in the money bill scenario, right? That's why it's different from the ordinary bill. Okay, so it can be introduced either by a minister or a private member, but the money bill, it has to be introduced only by a minister. Money bill cannot be introduced by a private member. Now third is it is introduced without the recommendation of the president. Obviously you can do that because the president ordinary bill is being introduced with the prior is being introduced so that some the daily routine, some matter of public concern can be highlighted. So again and again you can't take the permission of the president. Okay, but for the money bill, it has to be introduced only on the recommendation of the president. This is very very important, you need to remember this. Okay, now fourth is it can be detained by the Rajya Sabha for a maximum period of 6 months. Rajya Sabha, if the bill is passed in the Lok Sabha, okay, so Rajya Sabha can detain it for a maximum period of 6 months. It's privileged. Okay, but in the case of money bill, it can be detained by the Rajya Sabha for a maximum period of 14 days only. So this is also important that Rajya Sabha here in the case of money bill has only 14 days, and in ordinary bill it has 6 months. Okay, now fifth point is it can be amended or rejected by the Rajya Sabha. It's a Rajya House power that it can amend or reject. Okay, and in money bill it cannot be amended or rejected by the Rajya Sabha. Instead, the Rajya Sabha should return the bill with or without recommendation, which may or may not be accepted by the Lok Sabha. Okay, because here we have seen in the first point that the money bill can be introduced only in the Lok Sabha. So Lok Sabha has its specific privileged power. So Rajya Sabha has only 14 days, and it cannot be amended or rejected by the Rajya Sabha. And Rajya Sabha should return the bill with or without recommendations, with which can be or which can be rejected by the Lok Sabha. You might be thinking that I used to repeat the things again and again, so that my job is to make you understand, to make to feed these things in your mind, so that you yourself will do the revision. But on my part, I get satisfied that I have taught you very well. Okay, so don't take it otherwise. Now, sixth point is it does not require the certification of the speaker when transmitted to the Rajya Sabha if it has originated in the Lok Sabha. So here the certification of the speaker is not required if it has the origin of Lok Sabha. But in the case of money bill, it requires the certification of the speaker when transmitted to the Rajya Sabha. Okay, now we proceed. Here are some more points, like it is sent for the president's assent only after being approved by both the houses. And in case of deadlock, we all know that we have a joint sitting in case of deadlock, and that is to be summoned by the president. to resolve the deadlock. This point is very very important. You need to remember that a joint sitting is being summoned by the president to dissolve the deadlock. This question comes directly. And can you tell me that how many bills or acts have been prepared by this joint sitting? There are three acts that have been made by this joint sitting. Okay, you can easily see them in the Lakshmikant book. And in case of money bill, it is sent for the president assent even if it is approved by only Lok Sabha, because we have seen that Rajya Sabha doesn't have much control over money bill. So it is sent can be sent for the president assent even it is approved by only Lok Sabha. There is no chance of disagreement between the houses, so there is no provision of joint sitting, because Rajya Sabha is not much concerned over here. It's defeat in case of ordinary bill. If the ordinary bills get defeated in the Lok Sabha, then it may lead to the resignation of the government if it is introduced by the minister. Okay, because as I have told you that ordinary bill, you can see the first point that it is introduced either by a minister or a private member. And okay, so again, its defeat if it gets defeated in the Lok Sabha itself, so it may lead to the resignation of the government, because this proves that government is not in majority. So it is introduced by, if it is introduced by the minister. But if in case it is introduced by a private member, so that has to do nothing with the your government part. And in case of money bill, its defeat in the Lok Sabha leads to the resignation of the government, because obviously money bill has to do with the government. So if whenever the government is being involved, so whenever the its government is involved, so you need to know the fact that if any bill gets defeated, the government should resign. Ninth part is it can be rejected, approved, or returned for consideration by the president. Yeah, president has some discretionary powers. You might have heard about the suspensive vetoes of a president have suspensive veto, pocket veto. Whenever a pocket veto of Indian president is much bigger than the American president, right? So the ordinary bill can be rejected, approved, or returned for reconsideration by the president. But in the case of money bill, it can be rejected or approved, but it cannot be returned for reconsideration. Why? Why is though? Because we have seen it earlier that the money bill is being introduced on the recommendation of the president himself or herself, right? So if it can be rejected or approved but cannot be returned for reconsideration. So this is also important, because if they give the direct statement that money bill cannot be rejected or approved, so this is itself wrong, right? Because money bill can be rejected and it can be approved, okay, but it cannot be returned. So this is something that makes the difference. Both the ordinary bill and money bill, they can be rejected or approved, right? But the ordinary bill can be returned also, but the money bill, it cannot be cannot be returned. Okay, now we proceed ahead. Here this is the slide showing about the censor motion versus no confidence motion, right? So why I have given this, because recently last year we had no confidence motion. So we were presuming that last year only the question of no confidence must be there, but there was not. So there are major chances that it can be asked in the upcoming prelim. So before comparing this table, I need to give some facts about no confidence motion. As recently, as you know, that it was recently it was introduced in July 2019, and against our Prime Minister Narendra Modi government, that was accepted by Lok Sabha speaker but was defeated in the parliament, right? And you should remember that till now we have got 27 no confidence motion. If they can give you direct statement that the previous year we had in 2019, there were only two or three no confidence motion we have seen in Indian history post independence, but it's not the case. We have till now 27 no confidence motion. And one more thing you need to get it, that the personality prime minister which whose government has suffered the major no confidence motion, it was Indira Gandhi government, right? It was Indira Gandhi who has faced highest no confidence motion, that is 15 times. 50, yes, 15 times. It was the only Indira Gandhi that has faced the no confidence motion, followed by Lal Bahadur Shastri and PV Narasimhan government, right? This is important. These facts you please note it down in your notes copy, or facts and figures, because this I haven't written in the slide, and this is very very important. So here we compare the censor motion and the no confidence motion, right? So censor motion, it should state the reasons for its adoption in the Lok Sabha. Okay, because reasons are to here, the facts are directly being said. Okay, so for censor motion, the reasons for its adoption should be quoted, but in no confidence motion, they need not to state the reasons for its adoption, right? Second is, it can be moved against an individual minister or group of minister or the entire council of ministers, but in no confidence motion it can be moved against the entire COM only. So this you can see that recently in those who are following the news, so they know that what was the kind of no confidence motion was introduced last year. So they might have seen it live, right? So from there only you can get the fact that the reasons were not specified. So this is true. The entire COM, it was moved against the entire COM, this was true. And if it is moved for asserting the confidence of Lok Sabha in the Council of Ministers, and if it gets defeated, so they have to resign, right? So this is something which you have felt in the previous year. If you're following the current affairs, it is the current affair part, right? And fourth is, if it is passed in the Lok Sabha, the COMs must resign from the office. So true, right? And here, if we see the censor motion, it is moved for censoring the Council of Ministers for specific policies and actions. Why it is said for specific policies and action? Because first of all, it is not for the entire government, right? It is not. It can be against individual minister or a group of minister or entire COM, right? So the individual minister might have held the specific policies or actions, so he or she is only accountable for that purpose, right? So censor motion is specific, but no confidence motion deals with the whole COM or the confidence in Lok Sabha, right? And the fourth point in censor motion is, if it is passed in the Lok Sabha, the COMs need not resign from the office. So true, because it is for as I've said that the second point, it is for against an individual minister or a group of minister or the entire council of minister, right? So this was all. I have tried my best to give you something that is relevant and related to the syllabus, right? And the topics which I have sorted out. So whatever I teach here and whatever I say that you go and check your book or your notes, please do it, because this is something which can really really help you if you watch it before and go for attempting your prelims, right? Because these are some basic handmade topics, right? This should be recalled, but at that time in pressure, we used to forget everything. We used to forget that what we had to see, what we have made the list or not, क्या देखें क्या नहीं देखें क्या करना है, and we used to revise the whole syllabus. So the whole syllabus revision at the end moment will not work. Okay, so you need to focus on this, and please do study it from your own sources, because here I have just given you the comparisons and tables, right? So you need to go and do your homework, that finding out about the no confidence motion, censor motion, as well as finding about more about the money bill and difference between the money bill and financial bill, right? Now here, public bill and private bill, right? So you can find it out, like what sort of private bill can be has been passed, or what sort of private bill are currently in news. See, I can do this work also, okay, but I need to develop a curiosity in you, right? Because this is the only part which is lacking in the candidate, which are in their third, fourth or fifth attempt. ये जो curiosity है ना, that will make the difference. you can see your result whenever it comes. अगर आपके अंदर एक curiosity आ गई ना, so you can able to compete with those who which differentiate you between haves and have not, right? Because पढ़ सभी रहे हैं, but ये जो curiosity वाला part है, ये कुछ ही लोग कर पा रहे हैं और कुछ लोग सिर्फ रट रहे हैं, and rot learning is not required. Okay, so this is some homework which I am giving you, and please do it sincerely. This will definitely help you out, right? And if I so this was all. And I have a request to you all that please do share, like and subscribe it. Share as much as you can, and make sure that you please share it to the needy people who are currently doing the preparation, and please do forward it to the people who are currently in their third, fourth or fifth or sixth attempt, whatever it be. Because these are the people who really want this help, right? Because there are many platforms who can give you ready-made knowledge, but to how to develop yourself for the exam, this is very much required, because you can't be dependent on the platforms or other sources for a longer time. You need to develop yourself. So please do forward it as far as possible, please. Thank you.